was 3 days after my 9th birthday. I was back in Iowa visiting family. I just got back to my grandma's house. I was at my aunt's celebrating with my cousins. We had a great time. And I remember just looking back at that time, I was so fearless and tenacious, and I just believed that life was good and nothing could get in my way. I was all freckled face, little Dorothy Hamill haircut. I had little red USA shorts on, Olympic Eagle t-shirt, because it was 1983 and the Olympics were next year, and I was already looking forward to watching them with my dad. I was also excited that night I was going to get to go play bingo with my grandma, and I always won. Made her a little bit mad. But I knew in a few days I was going to be back home with my parents. I missed them a ton, especially my dad. I was daddy's little girl. He was really my world, my everything. So we're back in my grandma's living room. She's got the yellow 70s style couch, the crocheted Afghan over the back. Price is Right is on the TV. She's on her green chair. She's smoking a cigarette. And when I looked at her, I knew something was wrong. Her eyes were all red and puffy. And I knew, even at 9 years old, oh man, something's not right here. And she got at my eye level with me, and she grabbed my hand. And I just had fear just come over me, envelop me like a cold, wet blanket. And then I heard, Shelley, I'm so sorry your daddy died. And I don't remember what was said. It's really funny, but I remember how I felt. I remember the anger and the madness. I picked something up, I threw it, and I yelled and I screamed. And then I heard, Shelley, don't be mad. Like, what? This fearless girl that was so sure of herself no longer knew how to feel, what to think, or how to show up. And that's when the first ripple effect began. At the young age of 9-year-old, that fearless girl began to shut down. I didn't know it at the time, but I eventually would come to learn the lesson of life happening for me, not to me. Little did I know that what happened at 9-year-old would give me direction and purpose 30 years later, that it would shape me into the woman I am standing here today and put me exactly in the spot I'm supposed to be. And I will tell you that there is nothing, I mean nothing, I would change about my life today, because I absolutely love it. I love the life that I'm living, I love the woman I have become, and I love the amazing life that is in front of me. And it's really funny because the road to get here, whoo, it was a tough one. Because you see, anytime that 9-year-old had any emotion or wanted to use her voice, she got scared. She was afraid to be seen. And so she hid. Even as I was growing into a woman, I remember I would look to others to validate how I was feeling. I would look to them to mirror and tell me how to show up and what to say. I ended up creating this self-destructive story from that moment on that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't deserving, I was unlovable, and that was a hard one to come over. So let's fast forward to age 33. So stuff has happened. We're at age 33. I have a chronic back injury. I've just resigned from a job I liked, I was really good at, but I didn't love it. It didn't give me a feeling of purpose, of fulfillment. A couple years later, I'm post-back surgery, and my surgeon looks at me. He goes, Ms. Farrell, I'm sorry. You may never work again. At age 35, what is my life going to come to? That cold, wet blanket I had at age 9 enveloped me again. I had a fear of being a burden, of being a disappointment to others, to having a life of pain and misery, of loneliness. And I was later that night, I'm laying in bed, I'm staring at a bottle of painkillers. And I'm wondering, is my life really worth living? And then the universe said yes, because I had a friend call me. She decided to pick up the phone just to check in on me. And for that moment, I decided, you know what? I'm going to fight for myself. And I picked up the phone. And the funny thing is, I don't even remember what we talked about, but I remember making a pact with the universe. And I said, if she calls me tomorrow, then I won't take the pills. If she doesn't call me, I know what the universe wants. Well, after doing this for about 30 days, I finally got through my big freaking goal. You know what? I may be worth fighting for. Right? It's funny. One of the biggest lessons I learned from that, outside of that I am worth fighting for, is that you never know what anybody else is going through. So when I get up every day, I do my best to show up the best I can for other people. And to be that message that the universe wants me to carry, just in case somebody else needs to hear it, because you never know what anybody is going through. So I'm coming out of this darkness, and my mom called me, and she said, Michelle, I need you to come home. I'm having some health issues. And this was another event, another ripple effect of life happening for me. Because I started to take that as another sign that my life is worth fighting for. Even if I had to fight for my mom, I took that energy and I used it. And I made a decision that I was going to get off all the pain meds, I was going to get back on my feet, and I was going to become a contributing member of society again. And when I made that decision, a job found me. Now, it wasn't glamorous. It really wasn't anything I wanted to do, but it did teach me that I can contribute, that I can work again, and it let me know what I wanted and what I didn't want. And then another ripple effect happened. The store closed its doors, and I'm unemployed again. And, I look back and I'm like, thank God it did, because even though it was so hard to get an interview, I took the lesson that, man, I deserve so much better than what I have today. I deserve so much more in my life. And when I realized that, I got a call on a Thursday night to get an interview for a financial services industry. And honestly, I only said yes so I could practice interviewing. Because I had no idea what a mutual fund was, what life insurance is, none of that. And I'm on my way, I'm driving to the interview, I'm on my way, and everything in me, I just wanted to run. That fear was over me. I wanted to run, I wanted to turn around, but my gut was telling me, stay, fight for yourself. So I showed up, and it was so uncomfortable during that process. All I wanted to do was run right out the door and never look back. And again, I decided to listen to my gut, that voice we have inside, and say, I'm going to fight. And I scheduled an interview for the very next day. And so the next day, I'm just feeling all that fear again, that self-doubt, that there's no way that I could do this, and there's not even a need for it. Who needs to talk about financial services? And then my mom said, well, you know what? I wish somebody did that for me. Because what I didn't know 30 years before is that my dad actually got laid off from work 3 weeks before he passed away. And his life insurance went away with his job. So now my mom's a single mom. My dad was the breadwinner. He was the financial mastermind. Well, they had some savings. He wasn't a big mastermind. But he was the one that handled everything. And so my mom just hits the ground running as a single mom trying to make ends meet. They had some money in a big brokerage firm, and it was some kid at an 800 number as her advisor. He was more concerned about his commission than her mission. And she just had the mindset, I'm going to retire I'm going to work until I die. And at age 65, she has to medically retire. She has less than $10,000 in her 401k. Try living in Southern California on that. And then I realized, well, maybe this is a need. Maybe some people do need this. And then I'm like, well, wait, no, in 2008, I'm like, Occupy Wall Street, financial services suck, money's evil. But there it is. It's all laid out right perfectly in front of me. If I could take the lessons that my mom never got and that I didn't have up to age 40, and I could take all the products and services that people think only are available on Wall Street, and if I could bring them to Main Street, if I could teach them and educate them and empower them to take care of their own financial life, so they didn't have to follow the path my mom did, well, there's some living some purpose. That's a life worth living for. So I decided to say yes. I listened to my gut, that feeling that I had, and I said yes to an opportunity, and I had no idea what it was going to look like. And I'm going to tell you, the first 3 years, whew, they kicked my butt. And even though the fear came over me, the self-doubt, the incongruency of not being able to really help people yet, I decided to take action and self-educate. And so I'm reading all of these articles online, and I came across this article named Fearless Girl. And she's a statue that was commissioned by an asset company to be able to raise awareness for International Women's Day and gender diversification in a boardroom. And she's this bronze statue, and she stands tall. She's got a ponytail flowing behind her. She's got her head up high. Her hands are on her hips. Her feet are firmly planted on the ground. And she's got this determination that nobody or nothing is going to stop her ever. And I had all this emotion wash over me when I saw this simple bronze statue. Because not only did this bronze statue awaken the 9-year-old little girl inside of me, but it also has come to represent my journey as a financial advisor. That I'm going to stand tall for my clients. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure they are not left behind by the traditional financial services industry. And now my purpose and my passion has been born. And what's amazing about this is I've taken my voice and my intuition, and I've learned when I apply it, and I imagine that fearless girl, I know that I'm 100% successful, unstoppable, and empowered. And so I used my voice and my intuition, and the firm I started with, I was miserable at. So you know when they say you start a job, or when you love a job, you never work a day in your life? I felt like I was working hard on that job. So I made a decision when an opportunity arose to change firms. And it's the best decision I've ever made. Because today, I truly love my job. I worked 16 hours yesterday, and I didn't feel like I worked a minute. And it is amazing. And it's because I slowed down, I listened to my intuition, I used my voice, and I asked for what I need and what I want. I no longer allow what other people say to influence me on how I'm going to show up for myself. As long as I'm using my voice and my intuition, I know that there is no limits, that the world is unstoppable. And I have amazing success today because of the fact I do use my voice, I do use my intuition, and today I stand as a fearless girl.